Yep, what is today?
January 2nd.
January 2nd, 2022. This is our cactus. Mashallah, it was small when we came here. It was like a baby. Now he's huge, became an adult cactus. It is a teenager right now, according.
Palm tree across the street.
We have palm tree here, and what you see in the cadrage in the screen is on the left side is Professor John Ryder, my neighbor. He's across, and this is me, Edip, and this is. I will do some work today. And then I showed him, I said, to show that philosophers not only talk, they do also some work.
Some of them.
And first time we are going to have breakfast instead of inside, in a serene environment, beautiful sky, not a single cloud.
Not one.
And right now was very freezing cold. Now
overnight,
beautiful.
Yeah.
And I made tea. The kind of, what style? Loose tea, black tea, and also Earl Grey mixed.
Oh, that's nice.
Beautiful tea.
Smell the Earl Grey.
And I have honey. This is stacked secret somewhere. My wife, when sees it, she hides it in another place or give away to her friends.
So you don't eat it, yeah?
This is the one saved. I put it in a way that, you know, she's shorter than me.
She can't reach it.
She cannot reach, cannot see it. Out of sight.
It's very devious.
Yes. And when she hides it, I notice she hides to lower places, which I don't kind of lean, takes more calories to go down.
And what if she's looking out the window listening to this story of yours?
Well,
this would be the end of it.
She already noticed. And meanwhile, you have no idea, she cooked some delicious food. These are all vegetarian food with a lot of broccoli, but these are what kind of mixed
like falafel.
Falafel, whatever it is. And we have spinach and all sorts of pepper, delicious stuff.
Delicious, yeah.
And we have also date. This is, I get this one, I finish them, but she hides it, and she saw me that I'm serving my friend. She gave me the leftover that she hid it.
Mm-hmm.
This is date, medjool date, medjool. And let's have, this is not yours. Yours will be smaller one.
Okay.
We give smaller to our guests.
Okay.
Now Turkish people, if they watch this, they say bad.
Lying.
Do you want me to bring a big one?
No, it's
bigger
fine.
than this one. I have
Mine doesn't have to be as big as yours.
Turkish people, they drink tea even in smaller ones, even smaller than this one.
Well, I told you,
yeah,
I've
small,
been a
thin,
little, like with these
thin,
nicely shaped hourglass kind of shape.
Yeah, like Coca-Cola shaped.
A little bit. Azerbaijan, Baku, we always had tea in this little, very nice.
Okay. Thank God. I say thank God. He says thanks to atoms.
No, I say thanks to Edip.
A while ago, we walked around the neighborhood, and we start talking about various issues. One, my matchmaking. I try to find kind of man or woman, they are pickled at home to find match. I use my Twitter account to have someone who complained about not finding a monotheist, righteous, good, beautiful woman. And then I said, have me a picture of you and a paragraph about you and 7 multiple choice questions. And the right answers, the letters standing for the right answers, you know, A, B, C, D. He would put together and next to each other, 7 of them, 7 letters, and then find at gmail.com as an email. I bet no one got those letters next to each other in that sequence. And he got them. If he didn't get, we could change the order of the letters, options, correct, the right ones. And I showed him that one. And of course, a woman was very resentful about this, says this arrogant way of looking for women, and this princess is seeking someone, people will petition him and he will have the right to choose and stuff. But this person told about himself too, correct? Give the people to choose by applying. Anyway, I apologize for that one. Then somehow we talk about Catholic Church. I don't know, monotheism and stuff. One of the options, which religion are you adhering to? A option was Sunni, Shiite, Catholic, Protestant, Hinduism, Mormonism, all those sorts, and other factions. This is all A. B was atheist and agnostic. C was deist and monotheist. E was what? Astrology. Yes, religion. And of course his choice was C, deist and atheist. And from that we went to talk about monotheism, that Christianity, Sunni or Shiite religions, not monotheist, they have distorted. And the statement in Islam is La ilaha illallah, there is no one but God. Muhammad is never added in the Quran or in early times. In fact, in early Umayyad coins, if you look at early ones, you see only God's name on it, not Muhammad's name. And La ilaha illallah, there is no God but He, or Allahu Ahad, that one. But later, about 15, 20 years later, they add Muhammad's name in the margin, Muhammad Rasulullah. And then the third stage, the third generation of coins, add Muhammad's name in the back, in the middle. And one side of the coin is La ilaha illallah, there is no one God but God. God oneness doesn't require Muhammad's messengership, independent of that. And then on the other side, they put Muhammad Rasulullah, Muhammad is messenger of God. And then the fourth, they were able to juxtapose, put next to each other, combine them as a statement in the middle of the coin. And this is very interesting. It exactly supports our theological support to our claim that the Quran rejects putting name of Jesus or Muhammad next to God, especially in the statement about oneness of God. When you say God is one, why you are adding the second one, the third one? Anyway, from there we came to Catholic Church, how many saints they have, and I'm summarizing to you. I wish I had that one. And then I said my wife would be, if we were Catholic, perhaps I would suggest my wife to be the saint of tires, patron of tires, because she always collects nails from the street. When we walk, we see nails on the side. She collects it and throws away someplace, safe place, so that the cars will be safe. And then, lo and behold, she says, I was Catholic, raised as a Catholic. I am a recovering Catholic, he said. I said, I am a recovered Sunni. But
I still think recovering is better.
Maybe recovering, because still hideous in the background in our decision, I think in our choices, still it affects sneakily.
There's a great line in The Godfather, you know, the film, the second one, Godfather 2.
Did you put it there?
No, I don't want. But Michael Corleone says at one point, he says he's trying to get out of the mafia, the mob, and he says, every time I think I'm out, they pull me back in.
The way he said. Let me check whether it's recording. Yes, it is recording.
All right.
Beautiful recording, and I hope it can hear us too. And meanwhile, in case you notice two things, this is the ring. This is my design ring. This is my website's design. 19 hexagons, discovery time. And this is a finger that is cut a moment ago.
Jesus.
While I had him wait for me. Meanwhile, I noticed that my shirt, I need to change it. It has Nike sign on it. I didn't want to be promoting Nike. And then I look at myself, I see that my face needs to groom me. Either I need it longer, like yours, or groom it. Right. And then I shave it. While shaving it, without worrying about him, he's without my attendance here, he will be upset with me. Therefore, why rushing it? I cut my finger.
This is delicious, by the way.
Really? You like it?
Apame is a wonder.
Yeah.
So what? I'm not advertising anything, am I? Except maybe Mont Blanc on the
Okay,
pen.
tell me about your experience. When were you in Catholic education? When you got it?
I was in the Catholic primary school and also in high school. So in the 50s and 60s.
And you raised Catholic. When did you start having questions about the veracity of their claims?
Probably in high school.
Oh, really?
Probably.
You are corrupted in high school.
Yeah, by the nuns and brothers and priests.
You said something. You said they were saying this school, because it was in 1960s, the time of civil rights and
Right.
all this commotion, student
Yeah.
protest. And
They used to say in my high school that it produced either priests or communists. I used to say, well, I'm not a priest, so you figure it out. But what they didn't realize at the time was that you could be both.
I love it. And in Latin America, we saw
Well,
those kind of, yeah.
Right. It was within a couple of years. It was a few years later that, I forget his name, begins with a B. A theologian in Brazil or Colombia or somewhere wrote the book called The Theology of Liberation.
Theology of Liberation.
Right. And that
yeah.
was the beginning of that.
Yeah,
too.
and they were almost communist.
Some of them were communists.
Yeah.
I have a book in my library here called Communism in the Bible. It was a very interesting book, actually, written by one of those guys.
Though I think Jesus is close to be communist than capitalist.
That was the argument they made.
Yeah, of course. What else? He says the rich person cannot enter the heaven as the camel cannot enter the needle. Correct? Needles
So,
are.
yeah, it's easier for, it's harder for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven than a camel to pass through the eye of a needle. Or something like that. Or the other way around. It's easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than a rich man to enter heaven.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You got it almost verbatim. Wow. Yeah, you see, this is a former Catholic and current confused atheist. He's a good neighbor.
This was great.
We like walking in the neighborhood. And we had previously some good conversation on different issues in our kitchen. You can type his name, John Ryder. How do you spell your last name?
R-Y-D-E-R.
Yeah, his focus in philosophy is philosophy of education.
No, it's one. No, I have.
Oh, you have.
I have a
other-
book, of course, many things. But the new book coming out in the fall is Philosophy of Education. But I sent you the PDF to that book on the theory
What
of
is
experience.
other area of philosophy you are focused on?
Well, I do systematic ontology and epistemology, social political philosophy,
Great.
history of American philosophy.
Wow.
I've written books on all those topics.
And for those who haven't seen the previous videos, he has been in different countries. Therefore, he has three-dimension perspective of the world instead of two-dimension just in the U.S. Which countries you were in?
Oh, I've been in dozens of countries. I still live in Russia also, as well as
Yeah, you
straight.
have a home in Russia.
Yeah. And I've lived and worked in Baku, Azerbaijan, and
Baku, Azerbaijan, peace be with you.
and in the Emirates, in
Emirates.
Ras Al Khaimah, a city just a little bit north of Dubai,
Wow.
and in Malta.
That means you know what does inshallah and mashallah
I know
means.
what inshallah means, yes. I once, in Baku, I was the rector of a university, Khazar University in Baku for a few years, a couple of years. And every time I asked somebody to do something, the response was always, inshallah, will be done. And finally, I got tired of this, and I said, no, I don't want to hear inshallah.
Inshallah means no.
Yeah, because this is not Allah's responsibility, it's yours.
I love it. Exactly.
Yes.
They true responsibility.
I know, what is that? No. But I'd be interested if any people who see this and have an idea about this, what we were talking about, the Council of Nicaea.
Oh, you were talking about
So
that.
I was saying to Edip that some years ago I was in Iznik in Turkey. Some of you, I assume, are Turkish and watching this. And I wanted to visit the spot of the first Council of Nicaea. The second one, the building is still there, but the first one, the important one, is the building is no longer, the ground on which the building stood is no longer above ground. The shore of the lake shifted over the years, and so it's actually now underwater. So I stood on the bank there in the water, lapping onto my toes, and I looked down into the water and I thought, this was the council called by Constantine, the Emperor Constantine, because he was fed up with all the bishops arguing with each other about matters of theology. So he ordered them all into this building.
What was the discussion of the theology, if you let them know?
Well, there were several different issues, but the most important one was about the divinity of Jesus, whether Jesus was divine or simply a prophet or messenger of the divine. That was the main one. There were several others, I think, but that was the big one. And he put him, basically, he pulled all the bishops from around the Mediterranean area, and he put them all in this building and locked the door and said, "You're not coming out until you agree with it." Yeah,
after Jesus, in 325.
It was right, early 4th century, right? Mm-hmm. Right, Christian era. And so they decided that Jesus was divine. But I was standing there looking down into the water, and I thought to myself, what if they had decided otherwise? Because they could have. Many of the bishops there did not think that Jesus was divine.
Yeah, it was small margin.
Yeah, it was. I don't remember exactly what the margin was, but I don't think it was great. There were a lot of bishops who took a different view, which is why Constantine had the council, because they were all arguing about it. So in principle, they could have decided differently. And I thought, what if they had done that? And the thought that occurred to me was that if they had done that, then basically Christianity would have been not significantly different from Islam, because the basic theology would have been there's one God and Jesus is his prophet.
Exactly.
So then it occurred, if that had happened, then I thought, well, there really wouldn't have been much theological room for Islam. There could have been further prophets after that. That's okay, because there were a bunch before Jesus and could have been other messengers, right? But there wouldn't have been a theologically distinct position that we now know as Islam. So now, of course, that's all counterfactual, so I have no idea what to do with that. But it struck me as an interesting idea, and maybe have some ideas about that. If you do, write to himself here and let him know what you think. Maybe they think, don't put this idiot on the camera anymore.
Well, come on. There is I have a book called 19 Questions for Christians. In that book also I have 2 letters for 2 different popes, this one and the previous one. And because of those 2 letters in my website, they are also published in my website, the Catholic Church, even university affiliated to Catholic Church censored my website. I learned from a former student of mine.
Which university?
A former student of mine transferred to University in San Diego. I think it is a Catholic private school. There is State University of San Diego or San Diego University.
There's the University of California at San Diego. There's also California State University.
Not that one.
Right, those
this
are both
is private.
public.
This is Catholic private university in San Diego. Yeah, my student called me, says, I have this topic on philosophy, and then I discussed with him. He wanted to have discussion on it. I said also I have an article on it in my website, 19.org. Go check in the menu on the philosophy, you will find it. There are about maybe 30 philosophical articles there. And then he did, and then called me a few minutes later. He says, well, your website is censored here, blocked.
Wow.
And then I thought about what could be the reason, because I have 2 letters very critical of Catholic Church exposing the problems with Catholic Church, with their teachings. And therefore, unbelievable, I expect from church censoring it, okay?
Not a university.
It's fitting, not the university, come on.
It's not even fitting
Grow
for the
up.
church to do it.
Come on. And Tertullian, we're talking about that too. Tertullian was the one who led the Nicene Conference in 325, and he is one of the number 1 examples of the word bigot.
Yeah, but there's a lot of that. It's not unusual.
Yeah, it
in
says
those days or now.
That time was saying reading any book besides Bible is blasphemy. Therefore, he was vehemently rejecting philosophical inquiry and discussions. Wanted to ban it altogether. Yep.
There's a situation comedy, American situation comedy that went for a number of years. I don't think it's still on. But one of the characters, this was great. Really tell up on me. One of the characters is a conservative Christian woman from East Texas, so a certain kind of stereotype. And she was always she interprets all of her experience in the world through her small set of religious ideas and beliefs. So it's an ongoing joke, actually. But whoever writes her part, whoever wrote her part was actually quite brilliant. And there was one scene I remember where another character she says something characteristic of conservative Christians, and this other character says, she says, you got to read more books. And the woman says to her, when God writes another one, I'll read it. That is an argument that one could make, that there, with respect anyway, religious ideas, that, if you think you've got the Word of God, why bother reading anything else? And this is part of the problem, from my point of view, with having the Word of God.
But the Quran uses the word ayah. Ayah means sign for the statements in the Quran, and also use exactly the same word for the events in nature. All the laws and events, things in nature is called ayah. Therefore, it doesn't really separate the nature from the book. Therefore, studying nature, physics, chemistry, astronomy, biology.
Christians will do that.
Yeah, everything, but it is literally is done without interpretation. Therefore, it is part of it. And there is no contradiction between the ayah, the science of the book, and the science of the nature.
Yeah, Christianity has the same attitude in general. And sometimes they resist new scientific ideas, but usually they come around.
They come around.
Eventually.
300 some years
maybe,
later.
Right.
Galileo.
Sometimes only 150. Darwin's taken a little while. Yeah. Galileo, that was a problem.
Yeah, but officially, about maybe 10 years ago, the Catholic Church officially retracted their condemnation of Galileo.
Was that recent?
Yeah, it was recent. But official. Perhaps unofficially they were already regretting what they have done.
500 years.
500 years.
Right.
You're right, 500 years.
Something like that, right?
Okay, I want to close this one.
Okay.
Not the word close is not the right word. Turn off, correct?
Right.
But the word close, there is also something.
You can
camera.
You can
screen.
close a meeting.
Let's close the meeting. And also, I tell you that this one is.
You're scaring me a little bit here,
It's not working.
Good.
No, because it is not replaced. Nice. Yes, it's working. MashaAllah. And do you have any last words before?
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Yeah, it is a beautiful year. Hopefully, it will be much better than previous one.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. What do you have hope for locally, for United States, for the world? You really hope. Tell us. Pray.
End the pandemic so we can get around better.
Okay. Take care, John. Thanks.
Yep.